G'day, welcome to my channel. I just thought my name is Brett. Firstly, I'd like to explain the name of my channel, Brett and Sam in Thailand. When I first came to Thailand back in 2007, the Thai people had a bit of trouble saying my name. They would always call me Blet. They'd throw an L in where the R is, so I got a little bit annoyed about that. I didn't like it too much, so I started looking for another name. I would use my friends' names quite a bit, but I couldn't do that forever. So my son had a dog called Sam, so I decided to adopt his name. I did a bit of a check and Sam wasn't offensive to the Thai people. It was fairly close to the number 3, Sam. So 3 is one of my lucky numbers, so I thought fair enough, I'll go with Sam. So that's how the name of the channel, I named the channel, was Brett and Sam. It's really the same person, but a lot of my friends know me as Brett, and most of the Thai people knew me as Sam. So some people in Australia also call me Sam as well, so it works out all ways. So the reason I decided to do this channel was mainly to maybe try and help some people that may be considering moving to Thailand or moving overseas and retiring in another country. When I first decided to retire, after 38, 39 years with the West Australian State Public Service, it was a decision that I sort of had a bit of trouble with, because retiring in Australia is not a problem. It's a lovely country and that, but it's quite expensive. It has a high standard of living, but it's quite expensive. So I started to look at other countries that maybe it was a little bit cheaper, stretch my retirement dollars a little bit further. So originally I looked at Bali. I had a friend that used to go up there regularly. He'd do 2 months up there and then 2 weeks back in Perth. Perth is where I come from, Perth, Western Australia. And so I thought I'd try Bali. So I did a few trips up to Bali, extended stays, like 2 months at a time. But one of the things I found with Bali was, even though I loved the place and I was staying close to the ocean, which I love, but there was too many Australians there, and sort of annoyed me a little bit. So I'd been coming to Thailand since 2007, as I said, so I thought, oh, I'll go and try Thailand for a while. So I did a couple of 2 months, 3 month stints up here in Thailand and decided that, yes, Thailand was the place that I wanted to retire to. So I needed a visa. I needed a visa that would allow me to stay here longer term, not just, visa on arrival, short-term things, that sort of thing. I didn't want to do border runs or anything like that. I wanted a sort of a reasonably long term without too many hassles. So did a bit of research, found out that there was a visa OA, non-immigrant multi-entry. So checked that out, looked pretty good, and it was a 12-month visa. So I could stay 12 months without having to leave the country or do anything like that. What I didn't know though was, when I actually got the visa, and I'm probably going to try and go into that visa, what's required, etc. In another video, but what I didn't realise was that if you leave the country just before it's about to expire, when you come back into the country, they stamp you in for another 12 months. So really you get 2 years out of that the 1 year visa turns into 2 years. So what I did was I went down to Kuala Lumpur for a couple of days just before the visa was about to expire, came back into the country, and they stamped me in for another 12 months. So I didn't have to bother about a visa or a visa extension for another 12 months, which was really great. One of the things with the visa I have though is that back in October 2019, the Thai government decided to bring in mandatory health insurance. Now, a lot of people don't like that, but I don't mind at all, because I've always had health insurance back in Australia, private health insurance. We also have Medicare, of course, but I've always had private health insurance on top of that. And I insure most things, like I insure my car, my house, my contents of my house, etc., etc. So I just like to know that if anything does happen, I'm covered, and there's no unexpected costs or prices that I have to pay. So having health insurance was fine. I had it back in Australia, and when I first came over here, I had travel insurance that covered me for 12 months. So I just signed up for health insurance. Even though I didn't need it yet, I signed up for it as well. I'll probably do a video later on about incorporated in the visa, incorporate who I've chosen to have my private health insurance over here. Okay, where I live. When I first decided to retire in Thailand, I originally had planned on living near the ocean, somewhere in Phuket, Pattaya, Jomtien, those sorts of things. But as it turned out, back in 2018, I met a lady, and she asked me or invited me to come up and see her village and where her family lived. So I thought I'd do a trip up there and have a look around. Now, this village that I now live in is about 5 hours north of, a bit over 5 hours north of Bangkok, and about three and a quarter hours south of Chiang Mai. It's about 40 kilometres north of a town called Tak. It's spelled T-A-K. It's over on the western side of Thailand. A lot of people don't speak much about the western side. Most people say, oh, you live up north, so okay. But I like to think that I live on the northwestern area of Thailand. The name of the village that I live in is called Payang Thai. The nearest sort of town, there's a lot of villages that are around this area, but the main area around here is called Sam Yao, which means three shadows. Payang Thai is a small village, and like I say, it's connected to a lot of other little villages around here, quite populated. It's a rural area, farmland mainly, rice, corn, etc. I'll do another little video later on just showing all the things that actually happen around the village and the rural area where people make their living, so it's quite interesting. Yeah, Payang Thai, I believe, was named after the yang tree, which was quite popular in, or quite prevalent in Thailand. This area here was logged heavily and turned into farmland, and the tree is very good for furniture, building products, that sort of thing. So yeah, that's the name of the village I live in. It's supposed to be quiet living in rural Thailand, but this place here is not quiet. I don't know whether you can hear in the background here, but this is a Sunday afternoon, and there's a housewarming or a house party going on where the house has been blessed this morning, and now they're partying all day, and the music goes from early in the morning until quite late at night. But yeah, there's lots of other noises around here, and I'll probably do another video about that. Yeah, it's not quiet like everyone would think. It's not peaceful and quiet. It's quite noisy, and if you don't like noise, well, maybe village life isn't for you. But anyway, okay. One thing I will mention is that I'm a pretty lazy person, so this could well be the first and last video that I do. But I'm actually hoping to do some more videos where I can sort of tell my story, share my experiences and my knowledge, and hopefully that will help some other people who are thinking about, you know, moving to another country or moving to Thailand. And so hopefully I'll be able to help a few people out. So okay, what I'll do is I'll leave this video off here now. I don't really want to make really long videos because I watch a bit of YouTube and I usually get fed up after about 5 or 10 minutes. So hopefully you've found this interesting, and you may look out for future videos that I'll make that may be able to help you in some way. Okay then, thanks very much for watching, and I'll say cheers for now. Bye.